Hi, I'm Brianna from Joint Strong here with your next weekly wellness tip. Today I'm here to tell you that stiffness is a warning sign. You will likely experience joint stiffness before you even begin to experience pain. This means that it is so important to test your range of motion daily. Testing your range of motion allows you to expose any possible underlying conditions before they start to hinder your everyday life. The two main causes of joint pain are repetitive flexion and poor posture. What happens is we move forward so much throughout the day that we rarely ever bend backwards. To get a better idea of what I'm talking about here, let's take a look at your lumbar spine. So think about it like this. Here you have the front of the spine and the back of the spine. One of the many causes of back and neck pain is repetitive flexion. When you bend forward repeatedly, over time, that disc starts to push back into the space between the vertebrae and the nerve of your spine. This is called an obstruction. It's physically blocking you from moving freely to your full range of motion. So what are our goals here? First, we want to create awareness of when we do feel stiff. People don't usually notice they're stiff or have a loss of range of motion because the average person rarely moves in those directions. Think about it. How often do you bend your head back as far as you can? How often do you bend backwards as far as you can in your low back? Not very often. Now think about how many times you bend forward, tying your shoes, brushing your teeth, getting up in bed the first thing in the morning. It's all we do. If we're aware of the stiffness from the beginning, this is where pain prevention comes in. Our second goal, we need to intervene. We want to locate the problem right from the start and prevent the progression of aches and pains that occur in the joints before the pain actually arises. So first, I'm going to demonstrate how to check your range of motion for 3 major body regions that are high risk: the low back, the upper back, and the neck. Then I will go over the steps to take if you perform any of these tests and find that you are at risk in any particular body region. Ready? I'll start with the lumbar spine or the low back. You're going to start with your feet about shoulder width apart. Place your hands right about belt line, and you're going to bend backwards as far as you can go and back up. Great. Now you may not be able to move as far back as the next person. You may not be able to move as far back as I can, but that's okay. This isn't a competition with who can move back the furthest. What it is a competition with yourself. What you want to do is monitor your range of motion daily. Let me show you what I mean by that. If one day you're able to bend this far backwards, and then the next day you go to test the same motion and you're stuck right there. This should serve as a warning sign to you. You just expose a condition that will likely lead to pain if we don't intervene. Now keep in mind that you felt a loss of motion in the low back. But for now we're going to continue on with the rest of the movements in the assessment. So now that you've been backwards, we want to check the opposite direction, flexion. Same thing, feet shoulder width apart. You're going to bend forward as far as you can and back up. Once again, the same concept applies. If you move this far one day and the next you try again and you're pretty stiff, you may be exposing an underlying condition that could potentially hinder your function in the near future. Next, we'll move on to the neck. You'll do this in a seated position. Check looking up to the ceiling, looking down to the floor. Then you'll turn your head all the way to the left as far as you can go, and all the way to the right. After you've checked the neck, we'll check the thoracic or the upper back. You'll cup your hands together, look all the way to the left, and rotate your upper back as far as you can go. And back center. Then test the other side. Look to the right, turn, and back center. So great, you've tested your range of motion. Now remember that stiffness you felt in your low back from bending forwards earlier? Now, what do you do if you are performing any of these range of motion assessments and notice that you do feel stiffness in any of these body regions? Movement is medicine here. Now is the time to move those joints in a specific direction to clear that obstruction and normalize your range of motion, preventing the onset of pain before you even realize it's there. If you feel stiffness in any of your joints throughout the day, you have Joint Strong right in your back pocket. Download the free mobile app Joint Strong, select the self-assessment module, click the particular body region you need, and you will be taken through a response-based clinical assessment to help you determine the right movement needed to reverse your unique condition. And once again, the reason someone would check for stiffness is because if they don't do something about it, they're probably going to experience aches and pains in the near future. So just to review, I want to go over the 3 main body regions that you will test daily. The first is the low back. Hands at belt line, you're going to bend backwards as far as you can go while keeping your knees straight. Then you'll test bending forwards. Great. You move on to the neck, turning your head to the left, turning to the right, up to the ceiling, and down to the floor. Next, we'll move on to the thoracic. Turn to the left, center, and one more to the right. And we're all clear. Just a quick 30-second screen to start your day, and trust me, it will make all the difference in ensuring your joints stay happy and healthy.